Hey guys, I'm here again. Today I think we're going to be talking about charring up materials. I have my char tin in the fire, and for those who don't know what that is, a char tin is a object that is usually fireproof. Sometimes you can do it with other objects, but we can get into that later. Little stainless steel container. I have some cloth in there. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually carbonizing that cloth inside of the container where there is no oxygen, only heat, and that cloth is going to turn into this really dark, flaky, not flaky, but like fragile fabric. So once this is done, get it out of the fire. And I can tell when it's done when I see no more smoke coming off that container, which should be in just a second here. Oh. And it actually is looking just about done. So what I'm going to do is I am going to remove coals from around that tin and pull it out of the fire, not open it just yet because of how hot it is. And if I were to open it, oxygen would flood in and all my char inside would ignite, start to smolder. So I'm gonna remove all the coals around this bad boy and start cooling it off. And once it reaches about surface level like I can pick it up, it should be good. That's usually the rule of thumb. So I'll get back to y'all once I get it out of the fire and get it cooled off. Okay, so we have the char tin now out of the fire, and it's cool to the touch. I can pick it up. Let's see what we're working with here. Oh, perfect. So as you can see, all that char has been turned into this dark, easily peel apart fabric. Some of it didn't get finished right here. You can see that. But I should be able to, next time when I'm done with it, stick this back in the fire and finish it up. All these dark edges are still good. It's just some of this brown and where you can still see the fabric pattern. But those are all good. This piece is good. So these are all successful pieces of char, but I can just keep throwing this in and finish that last piece if I needed to. Let's try and get some of this lit up. Okay, so I figured I'd go ahead and just give a really quick and dirty bird's nest making lesson. So I have a half-made bird's nest right here, and what I'm doing is I'm shredding it over a bandana. You can use a schmog or anything like that. And what I'm doing is just opening up all that surface area. I feel like surface area is key whenever you're making fire or working with anything. So or do with anything fire related at least. So I'm gonna start just shredding it up and opening up those finer fibers and just start pulling it apart and maximizing that surface area. So just again, it's more of like a back and forth movement, like you're trying to rub it against itself and just pulling and separating fibers over and over and over again. This is tulip poplar bark, which is what is native to my area and works really, really well for friction fires and for all our general fire starting. This is some really, really dry tulip poplar, which I'm lucky to have, since of how damp it is in this area. But essentially, just trying to create something that'll hold my piece of char cloth in there. And what I'll do is, now that I have just a nest of rough material, is I have all this super fine material right here. And I'll just fold it up and take my bandana, just fold it up and just go. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna coagulate all that super fine fiber into more of a mass. So this is actually going to go in the center of my bundle, and that's going to really, really give my bundle a nice big boost. So I think that's okay for a piece of char cloth. Again, the char cloth is going to produce a lot of heat, so let's give this a go. Okay, so now we have our bird's nest, our char cloth, and now we just need to ignite it. So I'm going to do that with something called flint and steel, which is what char cloth is often used with. Flint and steel is one of the older fire making methods, very popular in the frontier times. And it's done by taking a piece of high carbon steel or any type of steel that has carbon in it. High carbon works the best in a hard rock. In my area, that's going to be quartz. North, it's going to be chert. Starting to get colder out. But what happens is when I go like this, it produces sparks. And that's coming off the rock, or the rock and the piece of high carbon steel. So with that, I'm going to take my char cloth, just a little bit, not too much, because I want to try and conserve this resource. I think something like that doubled over will be good. So I'm using something like that. I'm going to place it on the edge of my rock here, fray it out a bit. I'm going to strike down, and hopefully a spark will jump up onto that piece of char cloth and begin to slowly burn away at it. So let's give it a go. There we go. So as you can see right there, it's actually smoking. So that's a pretty good ember. So what I'm going to do is let that grow for just a second, start to ramp up that heat. Just nest it inside of my bird's nest here. Fold the bird's nest to give it a lot of contact and start giving it air. There we go. So right there is fire. And if I had let that keep going, which it's got it again. If I let this keep going, I could place this into my twig bundle and get a fire going, but I already have one right here. So I can take this and I can conserve this resource for later. So just a really basic video on char cloth. It does not have to be cotton, 100% cotton, for you to char it. Frontier era, they would have not been doing that. They would have been gathering things off the landscape, like punkwood or fungus inside of plant stalks, pithy like plant stalks. But this is a very good way if you were to, let's say, make your primitive friction fire first. This is a good way to where you don't have to do that every time to make your fire. So you just carry this inside your haversack or your backpack or whatever. And then you, as long as you have a hard rock, a piece of high carbon steel, whether that be a dedicated striker or your knife. I know some people do that. And you can have fire and you can just keep prolonging this. You can keep charring. You make fire, you char, you make fire, you char. You just keep doing that. So, really basic video for today. Hopefully going to start doing more YouTube here soon. Just kind of new to me, so I'm starting to just figure it out. Again, if you like my channel, consider liking and subscribing. I post a lot on Instagram, so if you want, you can go check that out. I'm pretty sure it's in my bio. But yeah, again, y'all keep learning, keep sharing this community. Let's keep growing it.